Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Ferrari HP Esports series. You're joining us here now as we head into Silverstone now in the final frontier. We're in the second half of the calendar and on the countdown now to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi on the 5th of December. We still have more drivers to crown and more drivers to sign tickets off for to head to that what I'm sure will be a glamorous location when of course we get there at the end of the year. But George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me once again Nina, Jade, Paul. Nina, we've had drama already today. Obviously we had the Asia Pacific earlier on, and obviously the stewards have made their decision. Russell Reyes, who went undefeated in round one at Watkins Glen, did not quite pan out the same, well, not the same this time around Silverstone. He has not only forfeited the championship lead, he forfeited at every single, well, he didn't even get a victory, first and foremost, at Silverstone. And then on top of that, stewards reprimanded him. He is out of the competition.
What do I always say, George? It's not over until the stewards sing. And they sang very, very loudly. They poor stewards, they were so busy after the APAC region because there was so much chaos, so much drama. And I'm so excited to see what Europe has in store for us.
We're going to be in for a real treat, I think, and especially this grid tonight, because we have got a lot of familiar names that many of you will, of course, recognise. Coming off the back of Sotomuto, and obviously off the back as well of Russell Reyes, we've got Aidan Walshingham, who is currently undefeated off the first round at Watkins Glen. Now, are we to expect the same trend here, Nina, and have another driver potentially drop the ball here tonight?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because Russell Reyes was, of course, the first driver who went 3 for 3 in the first round, not to get through to the grand final. Sotomuto basically had it in his hands, George, and he bottled it as well. So it's all up for grabs. Just because you went 3 for 3 and you have that lovely big cushion doesn't mean you're getting through.
No, not at all. And you've got plenty of other names here that many will recognise. Luke Whitehead, for example, 3 in a row. In fact, very familiar to the APAC region. The top 3 of the championship remained in their same positions in every single race. Aidan Walshingham taking a clean sweep of victories. Luca Losio, clean sweep of second places. And for Luke Whitehead, a clean sweep of third places. So a very familiar trend from what we saw earlier on today. And obviously, hope you guys tuned into that one because it really was a corker. Let's take you through the format structure that we will be taking, of course, through the course of this championship. We've already witnessed a lot of this through the phases already. 30 participants from hot laps and regional qualifiers made their way into rounds 1 and 2 with 3 races for all participants, with the top 5 from each region persevering and eventually finding their way to the Ferrari HP Esports Series 2024 Grand Finals on the 5th of December at Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi. Top 1 from AC, top 2 from iRacing and ACC. So all very exciting. It is going to be incredible, I am sure. But of course, a lot of racing to be had. It's an aggressive format, this, Nina.
Yeah, very much so. And there's qualifying sessions as well. They're such short sessions, so it's very difficult to get into a rhythm, George, and have a good showing in qualifying. But you really do want to have a good showing in qualifying. You don't want to start in the midfield because there's so much risk to get caught up in those first lap dramas.
Definitely is. And much like the racing in itself, you know, this is an aggressive format. This is the race format in itself. Grid decided by the qualifying result. That is race 1's grid. Race 2 is set by race 1's result. And in very similar vein, though, race 3 is set by race 2's results. So we only have one qualifying session, which decides the first race. The rest of the races, race 2 and race 3, are decided by the previous race result, which of course leads us into how the championship points are going to be divvied out as well. Top 6, remember, goes to the grand final 2 from each region, and they'll be making their way to the grand finals on the 5th of December at Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi. Tonight, of course, we are racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione, much like we were earlier on today for the Asia Pacific region. And obviously, no doubt, we're going to see yet more fireworks here this evening, with many drivers needing to up their game in order to make their way into the next realm of competition, of course. And many of the drivers coming from all across the globe. Let's talk to you about the globe and the regions that we have on offer. We went racing at APAC earlier on today, as you well know. Tonight, we are at the EMEAs, which is the European region, and then Americas will be coming up very soon too. A true world's championship in many ways here in the Ferrari HP Esports Series. And do you know what? That's what makes this competition, and you know, not just the regions, but also the platforms, because of course we're going to have drivers who need to be versatile across every single platform here, Nina. It just makes the racing that much more exciting.
That much more exciting, that much more harder for the drivers as well, and they're performing on a world stage, George. I mean, we talk about the grand final in Ferrari World, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, but even now, even sitting at home right now, they are still performing on a world stage. There is so much pressure and so much to play for.
Yeah, and of course being broadcasted across to all of you across the globe on the Ferrari official channels. Here is the calendar. This is where we've been. We've been to Imola, Watkins Glen, of course. Watkins Glen being the first round for those racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione. They're coming to Silverstone here tonight. Laguna Seca was round 7, 8 and 9. We signed them off. We then made it to Summit Point, which we closed out fairly recently. We still have one more round to go, and that's round 12 on the 5th of October at Summit Point for those on iRacing in the Americas region. We have now made it to round 13 and 14. We've signed off round 13 already. We've now got round 14 here tonight, which is what we're bringing to you here on the 2nd of October in the European region on Assetto Corsa Competizione. We're going to be heading to the Americas as well very, very soon on the 12th of October, 10 days time for the Americas region on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And then round 16, 17 and 18 still to come from the Nürburgring. In 2 days, we'll be heading on Assetto Corsa itself for action around Nürburgring in both Asia Pacific and European regions, and then we're signing off the calendar for round 18 at the Americas in Nürburgring on the 19th of October, so quite a ways to go before we come to the very end. This is where we're racing. We are heading to Silverstone, based in Northamptonshire, UK. The Earl Grey of World Motorsport opened in 1948. Its history very much entwined in the world of Formula One. Ferrari fans will know all about the Formula One universe. Ferrari have been part of it for such a long period of time, but such an iconic circuit that has brought us many phenomenal moments in the past. Only difference tonight, we're going to be racing around the arena circuit, but a different layout. We're going to be starting from the original pit straight. So heading into Copse Corner will be turn 1 out of Woodcote, of course, sending us down the old Paddock Straight instead of the Hamilton Straight, which is where the Formula One Grand Prix are started from. So yes, going to be very exciting. Nina, an iconic track.
An iconic track, a beautiful track, a legendary track. I mean, in addition to the straights, it boasts so many variety of challenging corners that demand precision and skill, George, from the drivers. Yes, it's a great track, but it is not necessarily easy to drive. From the fast sweeps of Maggots and Beckett to the tight hairpin at Vale, each corner presents its own set of challenging tests and the skill of the drivers to the max.
Certainly does. Plenty of width as well for the drivers to utilise in order to make those overtakes happen. Of course, at the same time, though, there are pinch points. We look at Maggots and Beckett's in itself as a prime area where all of a sudden the track width can shrink and you start making your way through. I can tell you about that is actually Russell Reyes will tell you a little bit about that as well. After Davlish Singh and he came together, after Davlish Singh took a very ambitious line off the circuit, eventually rejoining. Of course, he did get penalised for that, and rightly so on part of the stewards. Well done for that, but still made his way through, so it didn't obviously upset his chances too much. But as we now take a look at pan pictures across this glorious circuit, Northamptonshire is the destination, and quite rightly so. Capacity of 164,000, and this is a track that gets absolutely packed to the rafters every Grand Prix Formula One weekend. But also Ferrari Challenge comes and races here for their UK branch of their competition, and they bring, of course, the Ferrari 488s, but also the 296s, which are all a pleasure to watch. The 296 being the more recent release of car here in the world of Ferrari Challenge, and also throughout the entirety of GT competition. Of course, they have a very high involvement in the likes of GT World Challenge with their customer racing teams too. And the 296 obviously building up upon the 488 with a slightly fewer cylinders. Obviously, we could move it to the 6-cylinder as opposed to the 8-cylinder engine, which makes it more fuel efficient, but also at the same time better in the corners. Still retains, though, that straight line speed that many fans will obviously know Ferrari to be all about in many ways. Of course, they reciprocate that in Formula One in many ways too. But Nina, it's going to be a tremendous battle here tonight. We've got such a grand level of drivers here, many of them who have competed up at the very top in their fields. Obviously, Aidan Walshingham coming into this with 75 points under his belt. And we talk about Luca Losio. He was pole last time out when we went racing at Watkins Glen. Just wasn't quite able to find that victory. So he'll be hoping to break the status quo here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of redemption. I think Losio and Luke Whitehead came together a couple of times, if you remember, in the previous round, George. So they're something to keep an eye on if they're close together on track. We talk about Walsingham going 3 for 3, but quite a few drivers got caught up in incidents in the last round or generally just didn't perform their best. So a lot of them spend a lot of that round doing a recovery drive rather than actually excelling. So I reckon Silverstone will be a redemption for quite a few of them.
Yeah, I think so. Many drivers will be hoping to find their improvements, including this man, Luke Whitehead, who many of you will know, competing at the higher echelons of sim racing, and has made and built quite the reputation as well, he's seeking every single accolade known to man. He's a 2-time LFM Pro Champion, a 5-time AOR Champion, a 2022 SRO GT World Challenge America Pro Champion, and a 2022 NLR Cup GT3 Champion. He has won also multiple karting championships in real life, and 300 competitive podiums throughout as well, and also a sim racing tester for Arda Motorsport not too long ago either. Currently racing as well in the GT World Challenge Intercontinental GT Challenge this year, and a winner of the 6 Hours of Spa event in August. Almost criminal that he's only managed to obtain P3 as his highest result so far, Nina.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, he might not have that straight line speed advantage, or he might not just have that raw pace. His racecraft might be a lot better, George. So let's watch this space and see. He was really feisty last time around. That's what I remember. So I think he's going to come out all guns blazing, but he needs to remember, hopefully he's watched the previous rounds this week, and it all could go wrong with one silly mistake.
He's almost in the same position as Davlish Singh was, almost. I mean, I would say if you look at Aidan Walshingham as the Russell Reyes of the group, and you know, you look at Luca Losio as almost taking that Fadili that Fadili role, who incidentally ended up becoming the championship leader coming out of APAC. I mean, that is essentially where Luca Losio is right now, a driver that can get pole but could not quite convert it from pole to victory. So that's going to be Luca Losio's challenge here tonight at the same time. So Whitehead is going to need to dig deep and try and unleash that pace that we all know he can have, because he had his opportunities but he just did not take it when we were back at Watkins Glen. He would climb the hill leading up towards the bus stop section, of course that little in-swinger which takes you through to a double chicane of sorts, but he just wasn't able to get his nose in front of his car despite his attempts and trying. He just wasn't able to pull it off. We're now riding on board here with Aidan Walshingham, of course 3 times a race winner so far in this series in the regional finals, managing to take all 3 at Watkins Glen. The Brit looking to come back, of course based in Bristol in the UK, and this young man is going to look to try and advance his charge. A passionate musician, and he'll be hoping to pluck the strings of success here again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He started sim racing back in 2012, so he's been doing this quite a while now, George. He's no spring chicken. He said in his post-race interview in the last round that Silverstone is a strong track for him. He's very familiar territory, and he had such a quiet confidence about him. He was so chill in his post-race interview, so that can be quite intimidating to the rest of the grid as well. I reckon if he's done his homework, if he's put the hours in, he'll go well here as well.
Yeah, 27-year-old from Somerset here in the United Kingdom, racing in the GT World Challenge Intercontinental GT Challenge at Monza back in September, and fought from 58th to P2 in a 6 Hours of Spa Francorchamps event on August 24th. So has topped hot laps to get here, and is someone who is very good in terms of his own outright 1-lap pace, and we'll need to show it here again. Luke Whitehead crossing the line though with a 1:56.4 flat, and just in behind him Walshingham setting a time that is just over a 1/10 just behind him. Bootsin goes into 3rd, quite a ways off. Luca Losio, the top 3 converging together, with Losio setting a time that is just 2/10 of the realm beyond, just 7 thousandths higher than 2/10 away from Luke Whitehead's time. Pagano drops into 5th fastest, just behind Ethan Faulkner, who's in 4th. Hop into 6th, and then Bonsignore down into 7th place as well. A few other drivers that we've still got to await to come across the line. A reduced grid to what we've seen before, though. Only 14 cars, Nina.
Yeah, absolutely, and that also just makes it more achievable for some of the drivers that are a bit lower in the standings as well. It is the final round of the regional finals for these guys, so nerves will be prominent. I think we noticed earlier, George, in the APAC region, the cars were a little bit rusty. The drivers were just, you know, it's been a few weeks since they were on the track racing against each other, so they were just a bit rusty. So it's important to keep those nerves under control, because there's so much to play for.
Yeah, and we all know, of course, there is opportunity still, even those who might not necessarily score the big points. Remember, coming off the back of this, 75 points are available. And, you know, many drivers that would have already scored points off the back of our first 3 races at Watkins Glen, you know, if you can add 75 points to that number, then you never know. You could be walking away as a qualifier for the Ferrari HP Esports Series in December 5th. So let's wait and see. Obviously, still a lot more to come. Aiden Walshingham, we're back with him once more, looking to try and tuck into that just over a tenth of a second gap between he and Luke Whitehead up at the top of the timing sheets. We're now coming down to the final 1 minute and 25, and Walshingham coming to the end of his lap as he now makes his way out of Brooklands through Luffield this time. Needs a nice run out of Woodcote. He will, of course, get another run after this, so of course, it's not all doom and gloom just yet, though second place is not really doom at all here at this stage, but hoping that he's managed to top what he set previously, and he has. He's gone just over a tenth, very nearly a tenth and a half faster than Luke Whitehead off the back of that last run, a 156.180, and that nestles in purple here at this stage. Whitehead, though, still digging deep, and watch out for Luca Losio, who will be looking for a little bit more. A great lap, though, for Hop in fourth, who has managed to hop above the likes of Ethan Faulkner and Mattia De Campo as well further down. So Leon Hop also making those improvements, but he's still quite a ways off until Sammy Joe Abby Nakali manages to pop himself ahead of Luca Losio into third place.
Yeah, everyone's putting on their best showing, the best showing that they can, George. It's interesting enough because Luke Whitehead currently sits where Fadili Rashmat sat this morning in the APAC region in terms of the standings. So could Luke Whitehead do a Rashmat and, you know, get pole and go on to win each race? Who's your money on today, George?
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think Luca Losio, like I said before, is in that Rashmat position, I think, right now. Luke Whitehead about to cross the line too, looking to obviously improve on his earlier run. Walshingham still holding on to the top spot, but Whitehead unable to top it just yet. Still remains just under 1.5 tenths behind Aiden Walshingham at this stage, but you never know. Let's wait and see what he can bring to the table. Obviously currently on a fast run. The timer has ticked to 0. If Luke Whitehead wants to achieve pole, it has to be now, and nothing quite like a good run down Wellington, then heading in towards Brooklands and Luffield to set your lap alight as he now looks to rush, heading down now through towards this next left, digging deep, making sure he maximizes the speed, heading in and out to the apex, now dropping in towards Luffield. The run through Woodcote is going to be key now to try and bring an end to what could hopefully be for him a big crucial lap to knock Aiden Walshingham off the top, to respond against the challenges he had at Watkins Glen. Here comes Luke Whitehead. Yes! 28 thousandths to the good. Here going to Luke Whitehead, a 156.152. He answers back brilliantly.
That was the lap of his life, George. It was perfect. It looked perfect. The setup looked great. And that's exactly what he needed to do. Stick it on pole. And now he just needs to keep it.
He certainly does. Also, Leonardo Pagano looking to improve from 9th fastest, more movements further back as we now see Bonsignore go into 6th fastest, Pagano up to 8th. We've got a few more cars now about to cross the line, also looking for improvements. No one else, though, have currently made it, but Luke Whitehead on pole position by a mere 28 thousandths, knocking off Aiden Walshingham, who was, well, we all know him, victorious on 3 occasions through Watkins Glen. No one could stop him. Whitehead, still chasing his first win of the series, was left frustrated after that Watkins Glen round, finishing 3rd right through the entire night. 3rd in race 1, race 2 and race 3. Has he now found the answer to toppling Aiden Walshingham and also by extension Luca Losio, who is currently 2nd. We got a little reminder as well, folks, concerning the standings. Let's take you through them. As a reminder, Aiden Walshingham, after the triple success back at Watkins Glen, 75 points. Luca Losio, 2nd, 54 points. Luke Whitehead, pole tonight on 45 points right now. That pole position could be key, because if he takes it from pole to victory, he starts on pole in race 2, and if he does it again, it'll be pole in race 3 as well. Big opportunity tonight for Luke Whitehead. Leonardo Pagano starting in, well, he's currently 4th in the standings, 34 points. Mattia De Campo in 5th on 26. Ethan Faulkner, 6th in the standings on 18. Kieran Prendergast, another driver to watch as well off the back of previous results. Obviously, though, I don't think he's racing here tonight. Alexandra Chiron as well, down at 8th in the standings. He is racing, though, however, so looking to jump those above him in the standings as well. Yanis Reinders in 9th place on 8th. And then we have Luca Lamonaco, who is racing tonight too, 10th on 6. Stefano Bonsignore in 11th place with Alessandro Alfano in 12th. Leon Hop, who improved significantly in the course of qualifying, qualified 5th fastest, incidentally. He's in 13th. Simon Iesi in 14th with Valentin Barrier in 15th place. And Simone Seminara down in 16th place. They're still waiting to score their first points. But yes, that is how the standings look right now. Obviously, Luke Whitehead with a chance to upset the balance of this championship. He is starting from first place. Luca Losio, though, down in fourth. How's that going to play out, obviously, here, Nina? Luca Losio, of course, going on a string of P2s. He took pole at Watkins Glen, but it's tougher for him this time.
I think Lucy will be a little bit upset that he qualified in fourth, and not only that, but Whitehead is ahead of him, and that's his nearest challenger. So he needs to just keep his head down, because it's not over. Like you say, race 1 determines where you start in race 2, and then carried on with race 3. He just has to make some overtakes now, George. He just has to get his head down. And overtakes, as we saw in the earlier region today, it's possible. It's all very possible at Silverstone. It's a lovely wide track, does get narrower in places, but overtaking is very much possible.
Yeah, certainly is. But now taking a look at some of the cars from left to right, just a little reminder of the grid. Luke Whitehead, Walshingham as well then alongside on the front row. Sammy Joe, Abhi Nakali down in third place with Luca Losio in fourth. We've got Leon Hopp down in fifth. Bonsignore, that's Stefano Bonsignore starting in sixth. Then Luca Lamonaco down in seventh. Leonardo Pagano, I should say, down in eighth. Matthew DeCampo ninth. Then Ethan Faulkner in P10. We got Marvin Bootsin down in 11th place with Vagelis Constantaris down in 12th, with Alexandra Chiron starting 13th, and then at the very back, Daniele Farinelli and Gabor Sarosi starting in 15th place. So 15 drivers go to the grid here for tonight's racing action that we're going to be bringing you live from Silverstone. It is going to be fantastic. If it's anything like the Asia Pacific region that we saw earlier on today, then we're going to be in for a real treat. Though Luke Whitehead, now that's interesting, starting from the pit lane here. Now, has he made an error, Nina?
Oh my goodness me, I'm not sure what's happened. What would cause him to start from the pit lane?
Well, maybe not getting onto the grid in time. That could very easily go against him. When the timer ticks to 0, the car will get transported if it has not confirmed that it's ready on the grid. So by sheer fault of Luke Whitehead not making it back out, he will be starting from the pit lane. So that does put him at a disadvantage. The pole has gone as far as Luke Whitehead's concerned. It's all on Aidan Walshingham, who's at the top of the timing screen. He's in front of everybody. He's got no one alongside him. A clear run as we put pedal to the metal. And it's go, 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 go. And Aidan Walshingham with a nice clear run. He's been gifted it by Luke Whitehead as he now makes his way through Maggots and Beckett. Sami Abi Nakale as well down in third place with Luca Losio in fourth as well. Leon Hopp further back too, and look at this, a car coming straight back out onto the track right from the get-go. Obviously a dramatic way to start things off. Luke Whitehead will be kicking himself, and there's a car gone off towards the rear as well.
Goodness me, I mean, a dream start from Walsingham. He waltzed off into the distance, George, and he's already built up a little bit of a gap as well. So I'm sure he will just try and keep his head down and get as much distance between him and the rest of the grid as possible. So upsetting for Luke Whitehead, because that just throws his championship in an absolute spanner in the works.
Yeah, truly an error on part of Luke Whitehead, you'd fathom. Obviously a major error at that. Can't understand the decision, obviously starting from where he is, well, certainly from where he did in the pit lane, obviously just not aware of his situation. You know, I mean, what a way to throw away a pole position by just not confirming your presence on the grid. I mean, that is purely what it's down to. Ethan Faulkner coming under attack straight away now is Pagano. Leonardo Pagano just sits behind him in 8th place. Still at the top, though, it's Aidan Walshingham, who's holding on to all the cards, looking immensely strong as it stands. And ahead now is Sami Abi Nakale, who's currently holding on to that second place and doing a great job too. Luca Losio currently sat down in third. Bonsignore up to 4th place. Leon Hopp. This is a great opportunity for several drivers that might not have necessarily shone at Watkins Glen here, Nina. They can shine here tonight.
Absolutely, and the grid is all still quite bunched up as well. I know it's early on, but nobody's really spreading out, so which means you can maybe overtake some positions quite quickly. I bet Losio will be very happy as well, George. A bit of a sigh of relief that Whitehead didn't start on pole ahead of him. Just gets a little bit of breathing space now in terms of his championship standings. Yeah,
absolutely right indeed. Losio still giving chase, though. He's after Sami Joe Abi Nakali over that second spot, and Losio has tremendous one-lap pace. Just did not quite have the chance to flex it during the course of qualifying. Obviously, it's quite a short qualifying session, so for some drivers, they might not necessarily cope with that scenario very well. Obviously, might be a different vibe track-wise as well in comparison to Watkins Glen, where we went prior, because of course we are set on an airfield in Northamptonshire. And with the track being so flat, because it is an airfield of all things, you're not going to have that elevation change. So it might be the case that Locio prefers that elevation challenge, especially when we go to tracks like Watkins Glen, where it is vastly apparent, as we now watch Leonardo Pagano chasing after Ethan Faulkner right now, as they now head through this next right-hander down the Lewis Hamilton straight in towards Abbey Corner very shortly. 11 minutes and 53 to go, and good job by Luke Whitehead. He's up to 12th place, managing to make overtakes left, right and centre. Remember, starting from the back, he's already up 3 places.
Yeah, I think he'll also be quite grateful that it's a shorter grid than it was last time around, because if there was 20-something cars, that would make his job a lot more harder, George. So hopefully he can get back up into the points and at least start race 2 in the point-scoring positions.
Well, I mean, that is going to be the mission. I think, obviously, at this point, it's not ideal because both Aiden Walshingham and Luca Locio currently sit in the top 3, which means that they've been handed an advantage ahead of Luke Whitehead in the championship, which only gives Whitehead 2 races to really turn it around, and he will need Locio or Walshingham to have a bit of a, should we say, a bit of a mishap through the course of tonight, and eventually it might be the case that he just needs Locio to have a little bit of a nightmare, because Walshingham should remain like this. That'll be 4 25 points, 4 separate amounts of 25 points going his way. He'll cross the 100 barrier after this race, should he remain P1 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Walshingham remains like this, he's pretty much provisionally secured his place. I mean, albeit there's no dramas. Locio just has to sit tight. I reckon not make any silly mistakes. Maybe do a Kelly Hides or in iRacing on Monday and just, oh, was there a bit of contact, George?
Quite a bit, I think. Luke Whitehead still aggressively persevering to try and rise up the order. Very similar scenes from Russell Reyes from earlier on today. And Luke Whitehead trying to attack now Chiron for that 11th place, and has managed to move up the inside coming out of Stowe Corner. So well done, Luke Whitehead. Very committed coming out to Maggots and Beckett's, and he's managed to make his way through coming out of Stowe, and now through the club corner he will go. Next up is Marvin Bootsin in 10th place. He's 1 step away from the points.
Yeah, lovely little move there, but he needs to be careful. As we saw earlier in the APAC region with Russell Reyes on his comeback drive, he picked up a few penalties after being a little bit overly aggressive. So I know Luke Whitehead has a lot to play for. I know he's trying to make a comeback drive and try and get some points back, but he needs to be careful along his pursuit. Well,
which actually went against Russell Reyes, qualifying for the championship when we, for the grand final that's coming up in Abu Dhabi on the 5th of December at Ferrari World, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, as we now watch Leonardo Pagano fly down the Wellington Straight. We'll take a trip now very shortly in towards Brooklands and Luffield. We can just see them nose to tail now between Pagano and Ethan Faulkner. It has remained that way for quite some time. Faulkner solidifying his place in 7th. He's got a little gap though to Luca Lamonaco, who currently sits in 6th. That gap is only going to show signs of increasing the more that Leonardo Pagano starts threatening on the back of Faulkner's car, but since managed to come back out, and Faulkner now starting to push back and chase after Luca Lamonaco over that 6th place. Up at the top though, Aiden Walshingham just cruising onwards, very nearly breaking a whole second between he and Sami Joe Abinakali.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what he has to do. Just literally put it in cruise control now, George, because it is his to lose, essentially. Locio, I think, in cruise control as well. I think if he can get 2nd place, he'll go for it. He's quite close behind now, but it's important for him not to make any mistakes, because then it's his championship that's up in the air as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. Luca Locio is currently riding on the back of Sami Joe Abinakali, and trying to close him down with the threat of an overtake. And it looked like at one point, looking at the bottom right of the screen, that he had the number 2 registered on the side of his car. So definitely a move made, I think, between the pair. I think at some point, so it's now since switched to 3rd. So perhaps they came together, maybe wheel to wheel, and Sami Joe Abinakali managing to get the upper hand and retain the 2nd place back from Luca Locio. As we now watch them come through towards Abbey Corner, it's still Walshingham at the top of the classification right now and has broken a second, so maybe the fighting between Sami Joe Abinakali and Luca Locio has basically influenced that gap to grow. They've all 3 stretched clear of Bonsignore, who's down in 4th, and we've got Ethan Faulkner, who's still once again being peppered by Leonardo Pagano, who remains down in 8th place. But still a fair ways to go, 7 minutes and a half of the realm. And once again, Luke Whitehead on the move and looking to try and close up to the back of Marvin Bootsin. He's managed to bring that gap down to 1.1 seconds, so Whitehead on the attack.
Absolutely, and once he gets to 10th place, once he gets to 9th, that pack is so bunched up, George. So if it stays like that, he can make a real advantage of that and try and clear off a few people and get further up in the points.
If anything, like his previous lap, if it's anything to go by, I mean, Luke Whitehead is currently lapping in the 156.917s. He's just crossed the line now and did a 157.712, so that's even better than before. Marvin Bootsin's last lap, 157.687. So that is almost a whole second difference between the pair, which suggests that we will be seeing, I think, Luke Whitehead potentially go for a P10 move in the next lap, or lap to lap and a half, I would say. So Whitehead is on a mega charge right now, and it's not just about getting into the points in here. You get the feeling that this is all about where he starts for our next race, race 2.
Absolutely. I mean, the higher up you start, the more opportunity there is. That's exactly it, George. And I think it's good that he's not been disheartened. He's still hunting them down and he's still going after more positions. And that's exactly what champions are made of. They have to dig deep sometimes. We've seen it in each of the rounds, actually, this week. There's been a lot of comeback drives. So, you know, sometimes you make a mistake and you have to make up for it.
Yeah, there's only one driver lapping faster than Luke Whitehead right now, and that's our race leader, Aidan Walshingham. Walshingham's fast lap set at a 156.625. As we now watch Leonardo Pagano sitting in 8th place, just kicking up some of that dirt as well in pursuit of Ethan Faulkner. There's quite the train starting to develop, and obviously this will invite Luke Whitehead in as well. Should we see a little bit more squabbling happening in the midfield, it will open the door for Luke Whitehead, who has now closed the gap well and truly between he and Marvin Bootsin, and he has got Bootsin as well. So Whitehead moving up into 10th place. He's now into the points and just under 2.5 seconds away from Mattia De Campo. So Luke Whitehead turning on the style here, Nina.
Yeah, lovely stuff. He needs to get a wiggle on and try and get De Campo before the end of the race. And if he can do that, then he will get to that train that you were talking about, George, that midfield that's really bunched up. And you never know, he might be squids in and get some luck.
You never know. Leon Hopp now on our screens, currently sat 5th place and chasing after Stefano Bonsignore as they now head through Copse Corner out of yet another lap. 5 minutes to go as they now cruise through towards Maggots and Beckett. Stefano Bonsignore, basically the cork in the bottle at this stage. He's 2.3 away from Luca Losio in 3rd. Sammy Joe Abinakali is now 1.2 away from Aidan Walshingham, so that's allowed Luca Losio to basically earn some drag off the back of Sammy Joe Abinakali, much to the detriment of Stefano Bonsignore, who is now fodder for the likes of Leon Hopp, who is now down in 5th, and he's dragging along Luca Lamonaco as well, down in 6th, with Ethan Faulkner as well as Pagano down in 8th place, and Matthew De Campo, who's down in 9th. And then as a consequence, in comes Luke Whitehead, as well as we're now watching Leon Hopp very nearly come under fire from Luca Lamonaco, who very quickly had a look down the inside. The two black Ferrari 296s very nearly squabbling around Club Corner.
Yeah, Leon Hopp, you get the feeling is very much a cork in the bottle. The guys behind him just seem to have a little bit more pace there, George. He's created a nice little train behind him, so if he's able to hold off all of these cars until the end of the race, then hats off to him.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a mission. Heading down in towards the next right-hander now as they venture out of Village. The loop coming up next, and a trip out of Aintree will send them down the Wellington Straight. There we have the rear view on Leon Hopp's car as he watches Luca Lamonaco. So looking to try and cruise up the inside of him. You definitely think that's what Luca Lamonaco would like right now, but that's going to be a very tricky thing for Luca Lamonaco to pull off here at this stage. Ethan Faulkner will definitely pounce on any opportunity that is presented to him. Of course, he's been under fire from Pagano down in 8th place, as we now watch them now curtail through out of Woodcote and head across the line to begin yet another lap. It's still at Aidan Walshingham, unstopped at the top, but the gap has come down somewhat, and remember, it's stretched to 1.2 seconds. Sammy Joe Abinakali has now brought it to within a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Walshingham was pushing hard. He was lapping really fast. Maybe his tyres just picked up a little bit of deg. He's dropped back a little bit. I think even if he comes, I mean, you know, Nakali is within a second. I don't feel like he's an immediate threat, but he will be there if Walshingham makes a mistake. So he just needs to stay ultra focused now, George. Head down and not make any mistakes.
Luke Whitehead no longer lapping faster than the likes of Mattia De Campo. Remember, Luke Whitehead was lapping in the 156.6s not too long ago, 166.7s as well. Mattia De Campo was actually faster than him over that last lap. Obviously, Whitehead set the 157.022. potential damage on Whitehead's car, potentially. Obviously, that's what we're hearing right now. Might have been due to the contact with Marvin Bootsin or something like that. So we'll keep you posted on that if there is any news to bring you. But Luke Whitehead might be seeing some of that delta fall away here at this stage. He's still trying to chase after Mattia De Campo, but it's being made a little bit more difficult than what it probably should be at this stage. But Mattia De Campo lapping, like I said, a few thousandths faster, as now we see a bit of a clash here happening now down the inside. It's Ethan Faulkner being pursued and attacked at all angles, obviously by cars behind and in front. Obviously Faulkner being chased down by Leonardo Pagano as they now head out now. This left-hander, still Pagano trying to give chase. Wasn't quite able to unlock the door, however, as they now stretch down through towards the next left, coming into Brooklands. But now you'll have another look down the inside now, and obviously Pagano, fed up of waiting here, Nina, is right out there on the attack.
Absolutely, he keeps having a little look, saying, I'm here if you make a mistake. But he's going on the aggressive, he's getting punchy, but we've seen that in the previous rounds. It doesn't necessarily work out for you. You end up diving down, something that you were never going to pull off. So I think this midfielder one to watch, especially in this race. The next race, I think they're going to be bunched up together and trying to get in front of each other.
Well, we've got a guitar player leading the entire race so far. Obviously, he's been waltzing to victory, but all the dance moves are being pulled off down in the middle portion of the timing screen at this stage. But still, at this stage, the status quo being maintained. There's Luca Losio, still challenging Sami Joe Abinakali. Now, the question is, who's going to finish where on the podium? That has not been answered just yet, because Sami Joe Abinakali is trying to take various lines, various moves of evasive action against Luca Losio, which is easier said than done against a man who took pole back at Watkins Glen last time out. Obviously, there is a lot of pace behind Luca Losio as they now fly down in towards Club Corner again, and he has not left Sami Joe Abinakali's rear end on his 296 whatsoever. There's going to be a chance here, you'd fathom, here for Losio to try and come up with something here in the closing stages. We're now in the final seconds at this point in this race. 15 seconds until we hit the checkered flag, and they fly now, coming out of Abbey Corner and stretch now down through towards Village. Now, Losio needs to go a little bit later. His best opportunity to challenge will be heading down Wellington Straight and into Brooklands Corner. There is Ethan Faulkner being closed upon by Leonardo Pagano, who has another look up the inside. We all know that Pagano isn't afraid to pull off some big moves, and he might need some now should he want to take that 7th place away from Ethan Faulkner. But Aidan Walshingham comfortably clear up at the front. He's now 1.3 to the good, with Luca Losio now firing up against Sami Joe Abinakali. They come through now out of Brooklands. There is Aidan Walshingham. A fantastic performance. It's going to be 4 for more victories here for Aidan Walshingham. He wins the opening race here at Silverstone. A fantastic performance by the 27-year-old Brit, all the way from Somerset. He's come here to Silverstone and continued his great work from Watkins Glen in our very first round. Sami Joe Abinakali comes across the line as well in great style to take his first podium of the campaign, and let alone that, his first top 10 of the campaign so far. So his first points registered. A fantastic job from him, and also credit to Luca Losio in 3rd. But I think everyone wants to know what happened to Luke Whitehead. Why on earth did he start from the pit lane? Because he's surely thrown away a huge opportunity there.
Absolutely, he could have won that race, George. Who knows what would have been if he just started. I don't know what happened if he just started in first. Walsingham, yes, he was gifted the lead, but he did his talking on the track. He managed to convert that, and what a beautiful drive that was. Easy, clean, and he starts in first place for the next race as well.
Well, it just goes to show you can win as many championships as you like, but if you do not set yourself onto the grid, it does not mean you're going to win, unfortunately. And that's exactly what happened to Luke Whitehead. Here's how the standings look after our first race of the evening. Aidan Walshingham on top of the championship. He has broken 100. That is 4 25-point gatherings in a row, and therefore, well, leads into the top of the tree. Ahead of Luca Losio, down in 2nd. Luke Whitehead, what could have been? Obviously, he'll be wondering that and kicking himself, no less. 3rd place on 46 points. Leonardo Pagano in 4th. Mattia De Campo in 5th. Ethan Faulkner 6th. Sami Joe Abinakali moving up the order after clinching 18 points after finishing 2nd. What a drive from Sami Joe Abinakali. And Stefano Bonsignore down in 8th place on 16 points. A grand drive. I think if we were talking driver of the days, really, Sami Joe Abinakali's got to be up there, right, Nina?
Absolutely. What a drive from him. What a way to start Silverstone. Really good defensive driving. Kept Locio behind him, which isn't easy, especially on this track. So hats off to him.
Yeah, P1 in a race back at Bathurst in August, also winning at Bathurst in May. Seems to like that track, and Silverstone obviously a little wider, which also helps. Kieran Prendergast finishing, currently in 9th place in the standings on 15 points, joining Alexandra Chiron in 10th place as well. Luca Lamonaco on 14 points, Leon Hopp 11 points, Yanis Reinders on 8 points, Alessandro Alfano 2 points, with Simone Iesi on 0 points, and Valentin Barriere very much in the same position on 0 points as well. So that's your 16 top drivers that currently sit in the European standings for ACC, and no doubt we'll be seeing many others looking to try and chase their first points as well, or more points coming into race 2. But interesting moment, it has to be said. I mean, Luke Whitehead will of course be the story, and I think everyone's probably talking about it no less in the live chat. Obviously let us know your thoughts on that, folks at home. But I mean, me personally, I mean, that is a shocker. I mean, to go on and take pole in such an incredible manner, and then to throw it all away, Nina, in a very high-profile championship, that is going to burn for quite some time.
I think it will, but he's not the first one to make a mistake in this round this week. We've seen quite a few drivers have a very privileged position and thrown it all away, George. And I don't know if that's pressure, if it just gets them performing on this world stage for the Ferrari HP Esports series. I don't know what it is, but it could be the pressure getting to him. But it's such a shame because he's also taken that away from us. Those battles that could have been that we didn't get to see. But he shouldn't count himself out. He's still sitting third in the championship standings. You've got Locio, who's punchy, and he wants to overtake Nakali. So it's all to play for still. You never know what might come his way.
Yeah, and bear in mind as well, we might see some drivers rise to the occasion in an attempt to fight for pride, basically, around Silverstone. You know, there's plenty of options for overtaking. I mean, I think what really helped Aidan Walshingham was that he was unchallenged off the line because he had no one alongside him. Obviously, with you know, it's not as if the other cars move up; they've got to remain in their slots. So, if you are Luke Whitehead and you've left, you're not on the grid anymore, that front spot is clear. Aidan Walshingham has got the ability just to not worry about the car that's alongside him. He can take that tiger line, he can take that apex as aggressively as he likes at the very start of a race, which opened the door for him, allowing everyone else behind to just battle away. And in the process, it just allows Aidan Walshingham to just run away with victory.
I bet he was almost as confused as us, probably thinking, where's Whitehead?
He was.
But I'll take this. I said, I'll take it. Oh, yeah, that's fine. You gift that to me. I'll go off into the sunset. And you know what? Like I say, he backed it up with his driving. He did a beautiful race. Nice and easy for him. No dramas. And he needs to continue like that, and he'll provisionally book his spot.
Yeah, and I must say he was lapping exceedingly quick as well. I mean, if we look back at some of the times that he managed to register, he was faster than Luke Whitehead. So it isn't necessarily a suggestion that Whitehead would have come away with a victory. The pole obviously helps. It's all well and good being faster over one lap, and we've noticed that obviously with some drivers already through the course of this series. I mean, Luca Locio will tell you a little bit about that. He was fastest at Watkins Glen, could not pull it off in any of the races, even though he finished second in every single one of them. There's still a lot to be said, in terms of race trim. It's another challenge altogether. It's one thing to get pole, it's another thing to win a race. And, Aidan Walshingham, he hasn't secured a pole position yet, but he's done all his talking out there in race trim.
Yeah, exactly. He's got beautiful racecraft, doesn't he? He knows how to win a race, and that's sometimes what it takes. It's the endurance of it. I know these are sort of sprint-style format races, but still, you have to be on it every single lap, and that's exactly what Walshingham is doing.
Yeah, he's got that raw ability and talent. Obviously, at the moment, in terms of the championship, it puts him in a very prime position. 100 points now against his name after achieving a fourth successive podium, a fourth successive victory. Luca Locio, though, taking also a fourth successive podium. The consistency is still very much there. It may not have been second place like it has been over the course of the last 3 races prior to our first race here for round 2 at Silverstone, but still it's a podium nonetheless. And credit to Sammy Joe Abi Nakali, who could yet be a thorn in the side for a few drivers if he maintains this level. Whereas obviously the results weren't necessarily good at Watkins Glen for Sammy Joe Abi Nakali here, Nina. I mean, looking back, 19th, 22nd, 12th place, didn't even finish in the top 10. Maybe there's something about Silverstone that suits him.
Yeah, I mean, drivers have their favourite tracks, don't they? They have tracks that they just go well on. They have tracks that they know like the back of their hand. And I think Silverstone, like I said, for a lot of these drivers, is a favourite track. It's a fan favourite as well. Everyone loves Silverstone. Like you say, it's the Earl Grey of motorsport. So it might just be a track that he really is used to. He really knows really well, and he likes going well here.
Yeah, he certainly does. I mean, obviously, we're looking forward to seeing whether he can provide us with yet more entertainment in our next race. He'll be starting from a different spot this time. He'll be on the front row, I mean, alongside Aidan Walshingham. So it's not going to be as simple, unless, of course, Joe Abinakali decides not to grid up for the next race and starts from the pit lane as well, following suit with what we saw from Luke Whitehead. I can't imagine that will be the case, folks, so don't worry about that. It does mean, though, that Aidan Walshingham has got the complicated matter of trying to withstand the pressure from a driver that will be alongside him. Here is the rundown, the lineup ahead of our next race. So we're just seeing Joe Abinakali's number 11 car on the right-hand side. We then head, of course, to row 2 with Luca Losio on the left. He's going to be looking to try and improve his positioning, finishing 3rd last time out. Number 16 on the right, Stefano Bonsignore, who kept the train of cars in behind. It was much needed as well. He was under pressure from Leon Hopp, who would be starting just behind him. You can just see him there on the left in car number 5. And then alongside him is, of course, Luca LaMonaco, who was also piling on the agony just ahead of Ethan Faulkner in the yellow Ferrari 296, who will be looking to come back as well in a bid to try and rein in some of the delta. He's got Leonardo Pagano, though. We saw Pagano throwing it left, right, and centre up against Ethan Faulkner, too, looking for a way to get past. Of course, Faulkner denied him at every turn. Matti De Campo, as well, had an elusive race. He'll be joined, though, this time by Luke Whitehead. He won't have to worry about trying to close that delta after starting from the pit lane before. But the car's now getting underway now, and they will slowly trickle around the final corner at Woodcote, heading down towards the line. The tension, you can cut it with a knife. If Aidan Walshingham takes victory here, you can bet your bottom dollar that he is solidifying his place ahead of a trip to the grand final at Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi on the 5th of December. Can he do that here? Can he make it 5? Let's wait and see. The green flag will come out, and it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Great start from Walshingham. Joe Abinakali was caught napping just a little bit. This will open up for Luca Losio, who this time might look to challenge. I don't think he's quite close enough, though, however, as Walshingham hangs on. And if anything, Losio was under pressure from Stefano Bonsignore in 4th place, who challenged him for 3rd, but there wasn't enough. Losio holding on to 3rd place. Leon Hopp down in 5th with Luca LaMonaco, and Ethan Faulkner as they now burst down the hangar straight. Aidan Walshingham got away in just the right manner there.
Yeah, another great start from Walshingham. Perfect launch, great second phase as well. Head down, no silly mistakes. Losio, I don't know if he was compromised at the start a little bit. He didn't seem to have a good launch, did he, George? And it just compromised him a little bit with Stefano, but now he's right on the back of Nakali, and I think he's just a matter of time before he's going to try and make a move.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Luke Whitehead also making places. He's up to P7 already. Remember, starting in P10, he only just managed to get into the points in our last race. Well, he's gone a little bit higher this time. Whitehead now challenging Ethan Faulkner over that P6. We're now watching Luca Losio fly through this next right-hander, chasing after Joe Abinakali again this time, who looks set to maybe garner yet another 18 points in succession. I mean, what a moment for him, no less. Leonardo Pagano once again swapping all over the back. Once again, manacled at the hip. Here this time, though, with Luca LaMonaco. He's got Matti De Campo in behind, who's threatening to make moves in the yellow Ferrari 296. We then have Marvin Boots in, sat further down with Constantaris, who's managed to upend Boots in and move up into 11th place. They now rush down the Wellington Straight, a rush now down in towards Brooklands as well. Will beckon them as they now head through. Pagano still trying to close on the back of Monaco, who is still holding on to 8th. Ethan Faulkner up in 7th right now, chasing after Luke Whitehead, who once again moves up a spot. He's up to 6.
Yeah, I feel like now the race is settled. We've got race 1 out the way, race 1 nerves out the way. People are going to get a little bit more punchy, George, because people are going to want to try and make up places, because after this, there's only 1 race to go. So Luke Whitehead up into 6th place now.
4 places gained since the start of the race, and he's taken the fastest lap as well. He is certainly sending a clear message, and that message is, I want to qualify. That is the only mission on part of this young man who has made quite the impression already in his short time of sim racing. Only 20 years of age from the United Kingdom, and looking to show all his promise, all the promise from those championship victories, and now attacking Leon Hopp down the long hanger straights. He's looking around the outside and shortly through Stowe. He'll have this move one and done. He certainly will. Up to 5th place now, Luke Whitehead. What a sterling drive, and we still have 12 minutes and 15 to go.
Beautiful move from Luke Whitehead, just what he needed to do. Now we can get after Stefano. George, I didn't predict this. I didn't predict he'd be top 5 only a couple of minutes in. This is great driving from him.
Yeah, but he knows he has to win. I mean, this is one of those scenarios where it's almost an ultimatum. He needs to pull something out of the bag and then needs a huge race again in race 3. The world is against Luke Whitehead right now, but he has the raw talent and ability to turn that around. Stefano Bonsignore stands between him and P4, and then the next bunch are going to be podium drivers. But just look at how fast he is currently travelling, coming out now of the loop and entry corner. This has been impressive here from this young man who is really starting to dig deep. He's trying to close up to the back of Stefano Bonsignore, and that delta is coming down by the moment, Nina.
He's got a fire in his belly. He's a man on a mission, George. I'm sure he'll probably dispatch of Stefano within a couple of minutes, and then he can get after those podium positions. And I bet Luke Locio will be just breathing a little heavier now, knowing that Luke Whitehead is coming up.
Well, whilst Luke Whitehead was, of course, testing for the Arden Motorsport team, Carlos Sainz was driving for them back in the GP3 series as well. And obviously, he's committed to so much, and Whitehead has achieved a lot in his time. An immense sim tester, of course, has done so much in the world of sim racing already. We've listed his CV. It truly is unbelievable to see. Stefano Bonsignore is going to feel the huge brunt of that. Just looking at the last lap, it's a 1:56.482, which is absolutely sensational from Luke Whitehead. Incidentally, he's faster than Aidan Walshingham by just under 0.3 of a second. That is truly remarkable. So even Aidan Walshingham, we know his pace and what it's all about. He is sending a clear message to state this is all or nothing here in race 2.
Absolutely, and luckily for him, because he's going so fast, he's kept up with the leaders. He can physically see Walsingham in the distance, so he can see that he's not that far off the win. If he can just dispatch of Stefano quite quickly, then he can go after the top 3, but the fact that he can still see them in his sights bodes well.
Yeah, and obviously his confidence will only grow more the more overtakes he makes. And just look at how much he's committing, almost sideways, coming out of Abbey Corner, and now heading down in towards the next right-hander, coming out of Village Curve now. He's got Loop coming up next, and then if he can find the momentum coming through Aintree, it could tee up a fantastic run to try and take on Stefano Bonsignore for that 4th place. We're now looking further back. Leonardo Pagano once again chasing after Luca Lamonaco over 8th spot. Ethan Faulkner still stuck in that 7th place as well, giving chase to Leon Hopp, who in turn is trying to close up onto Luke Whitehead, which is going to be an immense challenge, especially considering how Luke Whitehead is lapping at this stage and is actually pushing Stefano Bonsignore around right now as they now come out of the final corners and then venture on yet another lap. We've got 9 minutes and 10 to go, and now it's Walsingham who currently leads with a 5/10 gap between he and Sammy Joe, Abby Nakali. Luca Locio down in 3rd place. Bonsignore crossing the line is now starting to feel the pressure because he's dropping away from Luca Locio. That gap now stretching out to 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the defence, isn't he, George? He's just driving for his life, trying to keep Whitehead behind him. Interestingly enough, Walsingham hasn't waltzed off into the distance this time around. I mean, Nakali's only half a second behind him, and then Locio's further 7/10 back from Nakali. So it's all still quite bunched up.
Yeah, this is good news for Whitehead as well. The fact that Walshingham isn't getting away and Sammy Joe Abby Nakali's putting on the pressure. Here comes Whitehead now on the run up through towards Stowe. He's going to have a look up the inside this time on Stefano Bonsignore. Wheel to wheel, they will heading through Stowe. And once again, as he did before, Luke Whitehead on the rise and is one step away from the podium places. Next on his list, Luca Locio. And what a moment this could yet be. A dramatic turnaround after all the hurdles that have been placed in his way. He's come back and reignited that fire, that pursuit here of greater success here in the Ferrari HP Esports series. Keep your eyes peeled on Luke Whitehead. He is on an absolute stormer right now and still has time to creep into the podium places.
What a brilliant comeback drive from Luke Whitehead. I'm really happy for him. And do you know what? This makes it fun. I bet he's having fun behind his cockpit. I bet he's really enjoying himself because he's overtaking, he's making moves, and now he's up into the well, he's in 4th, so he's nearly up into the podium positions. He has to take his good old friend Locio now. And remember, they had a few coming together in the last round, so let's see if they can keep it clean.
Well, he's a second behind Locio as it stands, so still plenty of work to be done. As we now watch Leonardo Pagano all over the back of Luca Lamonaco as it stands. Monaco going exceedingly deep, coming into the right-hander. Of course, venturing through Luffield and Woodcote very shortly and getting a little squirrely on the curves as Leonardo Pagano, as Luke Whitehead remains a second behind the runners in front of him. Still lapping though, quite fast in the 156.6s, but Luca Losio near enough matching the times. In fact, Ps 2, 3 and 4 all lapping in the 156.6s, and Luke Whitehead currently setting the time that is in between those two, the slowest of them being Sammy Joe Abinakali, but Sammy Joe Abinakali lapping enough and faster than Aidan Walshingham, so able to maintain that train that we're currently experiencing right now. But it's all on Whitehead. He needs to dig deeper than what he has before in order to get to within that second gap, because currently he's only showing signs of going outwards. Here comes Pagano around the outside now, and Luca LaMonaco as they look to try and challenge, heading down now out of Stowe Corner. They'll now usher their way down towards Club. Heavy braking zone about to come up once more, as now you can see them going heavy onto the brakes. Still no chance here at this stage here for Pagano, who now makes his way around this right-hander, but will open the door, heading in towards the next right, leading towards the Lewis Hamilton straight. Can't quite find it, but he is threatening as he was in the race before.
Great racing from these three. It's so tight. Fine margins, George. They need to be careful not to make any mistakes whatsoever.
No, not at all. And this time it looks like he's going to come under attack. Matty De Campo around the outside. If he can hold it together, he might be able to get the run heading into the loop, but dealing with it exceedingly well is Leonardo Pagano. Put the defensive walls up, and there just simply was no line for Matty De Campo to take into the left-hander coming out of Aintree, and therefore he would have to renege on the move. But Pagano now under threat. Here comes Leon Hopp. A little look up the inside of Stefano Bonsignore, who just recently lost out to Luke Whitehead himself. And Whitehead actually starting to spring clear now, 1.6 seconds ahead of behind Luke Whitehead, and it's allowing Leon Hopp now to put the pressure on Bonsignore. But one thing we do know about Stefano Bonsignore, based on his previous race, he has the raw ability to defend and keep a train in behind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be easy to overtake this one. They're going to have to dig deep and maybe get a little bit creative. Interesting enough, Whitehead is not putting in amazing times. I thought he would have come up behind Losio by now, but he's still over a second behind him. I don't know if that's maybe to do with a bit of tyre deg, or he's just a bit tired maybe from all the overtakes. But I thought he'd be a little bit closer by now.
Yeah, I just think that he's lapping basically the same. He's coming under similar competitors of the same level, I think. But I think, again, this is an opportunity for Luke to obviously just get himself into a position where he can fight against Losio when we head into race 3, for example. But obviously, at this stage, you've got Walshingham, Sammy Joe Abinakali, who is essentially taking points off him, and also Luca Losio, who, you know, by all intents and purposes, once again finishing in the podium places, which means he is going to lay claim to yet a 5th podium so far this campaign, and therefore strengthen his hold in the championship. So everything is going against Luke Whitehead right now. He needs ideally to score some points in this race, more points than those that currently sit above him. He needs Losio to make a huge error, or even so, maybe Aidan Walshingham to make a huge error, but more than likely Luca Losio is his ticket to getting into the grand finals on the 5th of December.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet he's hoping that Losio and Nicale start squabbling a bit and make a big boo-boo so he can benefit from their misfortunes. But either way, he's doing everything he needs to do, George. He's made a great recovery drive. He's now right there behind the 3 leaders. So he's done everything he can. He just needs to try and keep going.
Yeah, he certainly does. Just look at the gap he's managed to bring into Sammy Joe Abinakali as well. So I'm not sure, or should I say Luca Losio, because it's now 5.5 tenths of a second. Remember, it was stagnant at 1 second not too long ago. So Whitehead has found something here at this point to try and tuck in to Luca Losio's delta. And I can tell you this, Luca Losio lapped in a 157.165 in that last lap. Luke Whitehead a 156.615. So he's digging deep and he's finding time. And we just see there Luke Whitehead taking a very aggressive line coming out of Copse Corner and now flying through Maggott and Beckett. Losio still holding on to the fastest lap of the race. He might lose out on P3 because Whitehead is now breathing down his neck.
Yeah, we know Whitehead isn't afraid to overtake and make those moves and get them done. He's not just going to sit behind him and maybe play those psychological games. Nope, he's going to try and he's going to get that overtake done. So I bet Losio is grimacing in his car right now. But let's see what he's got.
That's going to be hard racing between these two because, of course, Losio is sitting in the prime spot where Luke Whitehead needs to be or wants to be in order to book his spot at Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, as we now head into Club Corner. This time around, he's still digging deep to try and close on the back of Losio's car. The one thing he has got that he didn't have before is the slipstream. He can remain in behind the fellow 296, only this one being blue, and then make his way potentially along past when they head down the hangar or even the Wellington Straits as they now head around this next right-hander coming through out of Abbey and then through Farm. And then a trip in towards Village, where they'll then tuck into the loop corner, which will then send them through towards Aintree. And again, Locio with Luke Whitehead attached to his rear spoiler and hunting him down here at this stage. But if Whitehead wants to get this done, he's running low on time because we've got 150 or so to go. And we've got Leon Hopp now coming under challenges here from Ethan Faulkner as he now run down through towards the next left. Wheel to wheel, they currently remain on the run down through towards Luffield. And indeed, they're still going to run side by side. Ethan Faulkner still holding on to that outside line. That'll become the inside now, coming in towards Brooklands. And then, of course, out of Luffield in towards Woodcote. And yes, fantastic from Ethan Faulkner, who now moves up into 6th place. And Leon Hopp having to stay in behind in 7th.
Oh, this little train of midfield is giving us some great racing. Somewhat racing for pride. Probably the grand final is slightly out of touch for them, but they've given us a good show nonetheless.
Certainly have. Whitehead once again gaining as well. Another look up the inside here, this time from Leon Hopp, trying to retake the place back from Ethan Faulkner coming in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Will definitely not be able to do it now because they're having to form an orderly queue coming through the very fast section before then coming out of Chapel Curve. Luke Whitehead now 2 tenths or so away from Locio, and Lucio losing time on the front two as well. Walsingham and Sammy Joe Abby Nakali have now got their own track space. Leon Hopp now coming under pressure from Luca LaMonaco in behind. The 2 black Ferrari 296s that are currently sat in between 2 yellow Ferrari 296s on the run down in towards Club Corner. Still got 20 or so seconds still to run, and there is the top 4 now, and there is Luke Whitehead still chasing here at this stage after Luca Locio. Flying now, coming out of Farm Curve and in towards Village. He'll have only a small matter of a few corners to challenge for that podium place. The seconds are ticking down. Another look down the inside here from Luke Whitehead. Will that cost him a little bit of time? The timer is now at 0. They will finish on this lap, and Aidan Walsingham looking to extend his championship advantage to 125, with this being a 5th race win should he take this home. Sammy Joe Abby Nakali still chasing him down. Luke Whitehead trying to find his 4th podium this season by trying to take down Luca Locio, who holds on to the fastest lap. I don't think he's going to be able to do it though, but Aidan Walsingham waltzing on to yet another win. It is his 2nd at Silverstone. It's his 5th in the entirety of the regional qualifiers or the regional finals here in the Ferrari HP Esports series. Fantastic job from Aidan Walsingham. He is your race winner ahead of Sammy Joe Abby Nakali, who once again finishes a brilliant 2nd place. Luca Locio in 3rd.
Lovely race from Walsingham there. But you know what? That wasn't made easy for him. Nakale kept him honest the entire race, within half a second the entire time. So he had to constantly look in his mirrors and make sure there were no mistakes made. Great race from Luke Whitehead. Great recovery drive. And now he starts in a great position for the next and final race of the day.
He definitely does. Obviously moving up from 10th place like he did. 6 places gained, Nina, off the race start, which is a testament to his raw talent and ability, but unfortunately that's not going to score you points. Obviously the points at the end of the race will obviously factor in, but overtakes don't. Aidan Walsingham though confirmed to be at the top of the timing screen, or certainly at the top of the standings once more, extending that gap now to 125 points ahead of Luca Locio now on 84. So Aidan Walsingham all but stamping his ticket to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi on December 5th. Luca Locio 2nd at this stage, and it looks like he is also going to stamp his ticket to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi. Luke Whitehead retaining 3rd place with 58 points, will not be qualifying. Leonardo Pagano 4th place on 40 points. Sammy Joe Abby Nakali moving up to 5th in the championship, which is so good on his part. He's having a really strong day here at Silverstone so far, 36 points. Mattia De Campo in 6th place on 32. Ethan Faulkner joining him as well. He's sat in 7th with Stefano Bonsignore on 26. That rounds out your top 8. P9 going to Luca LaMonaco on 20 points. Kieran Prendergast down in 10th with Alexandra Chiron on 11th place, with Leon Hopp in 12th place. Yanis Reinders in 13th with Alessandro Alfano in 14th place, ahead of Simon Yezi as well as Valentin Barriere down in 16th place. So folks, that pretty much decides who is going through to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi right at the top. Luca Losio doing enough to retain second, and it looks like Aidan Walshingham not only walking away with a clean sweep of race wins so far. Of course, we still have one race to go, but that one will be about bragging rights if he can bring home 150 points to match the likes of Luke Chadwick on iRacing in the European regions as well. But we've got to give credit to Luke Whitehead. It was a huge effort, obviously. Remember, all standings are currently provisional. The stewards will, of course, be looking at different things as well. You never know, there might have been a technical issue on part of Luke Whitehead's concerns in our opening race, but I doubt it's going to have very little impact on the results here at this stage. But we'll, of course, keep you updated, so stay tuned, everybody. But, Nina, I think it definitely is a testament to Aidan Walshingham as a professional, I think, at this point, the fact that he's managed to go 5 races undefeated here in the regional finals phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that last race, it wasn't made easy for him. He had someone breathing down his neck the whole time. He didn't just go off into the sunset. So he had to work for that a little bit. He's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Sheer domination. I do feel for Luke Whitehead, but he put on a great comeback drive and he can be proud of that. The amount of places he made up in those last 2 races, hats off to him.
Yeah, it was a huge challenge, wasn't it, for Luke Whitehead? I mean, just to move up the way he did. I mean, it all really commenced out of that first race of the evening. Of course, starting from the pit lane like he did, we were all blown away by that. And then at the same time, just managing to fight tooth and nail, 6 places gained, moving himself into a position where he could fight in the top 4. You know, it was a huge testament to his raw ability. But like you said, that does not necessarily pay dividends where it comes to qualifying for a grand final like this. So it's a shame that we're not going to see him at Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi, but still nonetheless, we've been entertained by him here this evening. So make sure you stay tuned to whatever Luke Whitehead is doing in the future. But in Luca Losio and Aidan Walshingham, we've got 2 drivers that are going to be definitely up there in the championship hunt here, Nina.
Oh, absolutely. They're both really, really good drivers. Walsingham is just showing his sheer and utter ability to stay calm. And I remember in his post-race interview, he was incredibly calm. Not that he just raced 3 races and won every single one. Real calm, quiet confidence about him, and it's quite intimidating. So he'll probably be really super chill. He'll probably just be like, yeah, happy with myself. It's going well.
Yeah, maybe he'll grace us with a song later on, maybe when he pulls the guitar out or so. We'll wait and see. But, I mean, phenomenal effort on his part. We pan the cameras across Silverstone once more, and a track that has given us a lot of entertainment already, and we've had only the 2 of the 3 regions coming here so far in ACC. We've still got the Americas coming up very much later. Of course, in 10 days' time, we will be racing in the Americas region on the 12th of September here at this point. 12th of October. Do apologise. Get my dates right. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun thrill ride, and we do have more to bring you as well across the different platforms. But we are getting to that finer point where we start finding out as to who is going to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi to try and aim to clinch the Ferrari HP Esports Series crown, and also by extension grabbing a seat at the fabled Ferrari team and driving for the prancing horse. I mean, there's no greater honour, is there, Nina?
There's no greater honour, George. And like we say, everyone is a Ferrari fan. Even if they're not, they secretly are. So there's no greater honour than this prize that comes with winning this championship.
No, not at all. To obviously representing the red car with the yellow or black horse is certainly something that will go down in many people's lives as an iconic moment. And you know, many of these drivers have come from far and wide. Like I said, a global championship across 3 of the regions that we have witnessed already so far, with drivers coming into this across the globe, different nationalities. I mean, here in Europe alone, we have various nations taking part, whether it's French, Greek, Italian, Hungarian, British, Belgian, German, Turkish. You know, we've had them all as well, and it's fantastic. Many more too. The Dutch drivers as well coming through, South Africans even. It just carries on at a far wide stretch, whether it be from the Asian regions, the Americas region, or very much here in the European region as well alike. It certainly has been a thrill ride. We've got one more race to bring you, of course, before the end of play tonight. The big question is, Nina, can Aidan make it 6 out of 6?
And that's what he'll be wanting to do, George. That's exactly what he'll be wanting to do. And like you say, it's just for bragging rights, for brownie points, simply for pride, and to provisionally go into that grand final saying, yep, I won 6 for 6. So let's see.
Yeah, well, he's going to be met with Sami Joe Abinakali on the front row. Once again, we just saw those 2 at the head of the order. Alongside at the back, though, is Luca Losio. Luke Whitehead would love to go out in style as well. And something tells me that Luke Whitehead is going to let the chains off here, Nina, I think.
I think so. It's going to be all guns blazing. He's got nothing to lose now, George. So why not? Why not just go for it? See if you can spoil someone's day.
Yeah, absolutely right. Stefano Bonsignore, of course, will be starting just in behind Ethan Faulkner as well. Luca Lamonaco, Mattia De Campo. There will be two to watch too. Luca Lamonaco there starting on the left-hand side as we're looking at it. And on the right, Mattia De Campo. Then further back, we have Leonardo Pagano starting in 9th place. Leon Hopp will be starting from 10th. They have got behind them Vangelis Constantaris and Marvin Bootsin, who has been right in the centre of all the action so far here tonight as well. Also came together earlier on with Luke Whitehead. But the car's now getting underway. And it's all on Aidan Walshingham and Sammy Joe Abinakali at the very front of the order. They've got Luca Losio in behind. Luke Whitehead as well, just sat on the second row. He'll be looking for his opportunity to potentially open up the door heading in towards Maggots and Beckett. So let's wait and see who is going to take that opportunity as they trickle now down towards the line. They'll await the green flag. And as they do so, they're going to put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Great start for Aidan Walshingham. He has the inside line, as he did in the last two races, and he will lead. He's being challenged by Sammy Joe Abinakali. A little bit of debris flew up there. I'm not sure whether that was one of the markers or if it was off one of the cars. I'm not quite sure, but it's still Aidan Walshingham who leads the way. Sammy Joe Abinakali down in second place. Luca Losio retaining third, and Luke Whitehead remains in fourth, but far from out of this big scrap, and surely he's going to go on the attack immediately as they head down the hanger straight. You can see the defensive line taken by Luca Losio outside here from Whitehead, who tries to make his way around Stowe to try and take third place away from him. He's going to hang it around the outside. Can he take it? Goes off track just a little bit, but rejoins, and the heavy braking zone at Club is to come. They're going to remain wheel to wheel at the very start. A little bit of contact as the raised curb pushes Luke Whitehead's car into close proximity to Luca Losio's 296, but Luke Whitehead around the outside down the Lewis Hamilton straight will move his way into third place as they enter through Abbey.
Oh my goodness, George, I can breathe now. I think I was holding my breath that entire time. I mean, it's not the first time these two have, bumped wheels come together. Didn't know how it's going to end, but, great racing from these guys. Hard racing, but great racing.
Yeah. Incredible.
Oh!
Big spinner, and that is number 16 belonging to Stefano Bonsignore. And that is, I think, number 23 belonging, I think that was number 23 anyway. It might have been Marvin Bootsin in the 25 car. Could not quite see the second number that was just in behind, but it's now caused a bit of a chain reaction as we now watch Mattia De Campo, who currently sits in P8 as we're seeing it, I think, out on track, but he's coming under fire right now, the number 3 car. Not sure whether that's Marvin Bootsin on his outside. He gets a little bit tail happy on the run out of Woodcote, leading down towards the start-finish line. I think Bootsin might be under pressure here from Pagano, as now Pagano moves up to 8th place. Bootsin down into 9th spot as we now watch him now make his way through up the inside. And I think actually Bootsin might have moved up into 8th. It's all chaos at the moment, Nina.
It's all chaos. We need eyes everywhere. We need cameras everywhere, George. But I had a feeling this race was going to be absolute carnage because the gloves are coming off and the majority of this grid, George, have nothing to lose. So why not go for it on the aggressive?
Well, Marvin Bootsin now will be watching what looks to be Leonardo Pagano chasing after Mattia De Campo as they now rush down the hanger straight once again. Walshingham, though, still clear up at the very top. Not necessarily clear of Sammy Joe Abinakali, who is chasing his first race win of the series so far, having not taken a single point back at Watkins Glen. He's gone ahead and taken 2 podiums and 2 second places in the process. So don't write off Sammy Joe Abinakali, who is lapping just as well here at this point as anybody is at the very head of the order. So credit to him, he's really come back fighting. Luke Whitehead, though, who's managed to solidify his place in third, still being chased after by Luca Losio, but as far as Whitehead's concerned, he only has his eyes on one place, and that is the lead. He is trying relentlessly to lap faster than the cars that are sat in front of him here. Sammy Joe Abinakali lapping in the 158.2s, and big moment! Is that Whitehead?
Whitehead so came together as he dove down the inside.
Goodness me, I was just literally having a look at the lap times of the previous lap or so, and unfortunately, in the process, It's all gone to porridge here for Luke Whitehead, who's now dropped down to 12th in our timing screen. Luca Losio now moving up into third, well, it might be fourth place right now with just Luca Lamonaco. I think Ethan Faulkner managed to breeze on by and therefore holds on to third. So a great chance here for Ethan Faulkner to take home a major result and put it in his back pocket. Of course, there's been a challenge right through the order, and I can tell you, yes, Luke Whitehead dropping right down, and it just seems that his luck is going from bad to worse.
He's had an absolute mare, but it's interesting. Every time Luke Whitehead and Luca Losio have been together on track, they've come together on track. And I just knew something was bubbling. It was all very punchy. Unfortunately, Whitehead came off worse in that incident, and I feel for him. He's not having a good showing here, is he? Bless his heart.
Yeah, no, it's not good at all. And obviously the way it stacks, it's never ideal at all. Obviously not to finish like this. That is surely not how Luke Whitehead would have wanted it to end. And it certainly looks like it has ended. His name has disappeared off the timing screen. That looks like a retirement from this race, and probably one out of frustration as well for Luke Whitehead. Not a nice feeling at all. Leon Hopp currently down in 9th place, chasing after Marvin Bootston. Ethan Faulkner, incidentally, after his first podium of the series, so he's been handed a really golden opportunity here at this stage to end things on a high here at Silverstone.
Yeah, absolutely. And Losio might be carrying some damage as well, so he could actually secure this third spot if he could just hold on to it. It would be a great result for him. Yeah,
and obviously with Ethan Faulkner, given the fact that he is certainly showing exactly what he's capable of. We have seen him, of course, tussling in the midway points of the top fives. He, of course, hailing from Belfast in Northern Ireland, but has also competed in the Toga Motorsport GT3 World Tour, actually finishing third in that championship with the Ferrari 296 GT3. So is prudent and proven behind the wheel of this particular car, and also finished P2 at Spa, Brands Hatch, Nürburgring, and winning at Donington Park in the British GT Championships in QRT back in December of 2023. So some real form in behind Ethan Faulkner at this stage. So a great opportunity for him to show off his flash and flair. Right at the top of the order, though, Sammy Joe Abi Nakale looking to end things on a high for himself. It looks like it's going to be a string of 3 P2 finishes, but a small reminder, he's only half a second again behind Aidan Walshingham.
Yeah, he's keeping him very honest, isn't he? He's clearly got the pace to keep up with the leader. He just needs to try and get a little bit creative now and see if he can actually get past it and nick that win and stop Walshingham going 6 for 6. Could you imagine if he spoiled his day, George?
God, I tell you what, Aidan Walshingham will not thank him for it. But nonetheless, as far as Sammy Joabi Nakale, this is nothing to do with friendships. This is all about competition. And I must say, I've been really impressed with Sammy Joabi Nakale here in this round. And someone who I think we probably could have expected to be higher up. As I said, he was a race winner at Bathurst back in August. He won again in May, and was an Esports World Rally champion as well. 2021 Main Digital GT champion, a 3 times Esports World Rally Championship MVP as well, and a 5-time Lebanese karting champion. So he's not without his own plaudits, and someone we could probably expect a lot more of in the near future. I'm sure he would love to actually add a Ferrari HP Esports Championship trophy to his cabinet as well. Obviously, maybe next year we'll see him back, fingers crossed, but showing all the promises I think that we've come to expect from someone of his raw talent and ability. Currently sat down in second place, though the gap starting to advance between he and Walshingham now out to 0.6 of a second. Aidan Walshingham holding on to the fastest lap of the race, and he lapped in the 1:56.3s in that last lap.
Yeah, he's putting in some good laps, isn't he? And he needs to. He just wants to create some space. He doesn't want someone breathing down his neck for the entirety of the race. Just needs to create some space so he can have a little breathing room, just in case there is a mistake there, just in case he takes his eye off the ball. He wants to have that breathing room because Nakale is very much there to pounce.
Yeah, well, it looks like Luca Losio is caught up with Ethan Faulkner, and we all know that Losio's one-lap pace is impressive. Sammy Joabi Nakale just robbing Aidan Walshingham of that purple lap with a 1:56.332 of his own, so has managed to improve his time by 18 thousandths ahead of Aidan Walshingham. That is 18 thousandths better than Aidan Walshingham's fastest lap before. Phenomenal job, Sammy Joabi Nakale, who is showing his tenacity and his fight and his grit here in the closing stages with 6 minutes and 45 to go. Walshingham still leads, Sammy Joabi Nakale in second. Here comes Ethan Faulkner being pursued by Luca Losio. And we've got Luca Lamonaco as well down in 5th with Matti De Campo trying to give chase. But the pairing that are currently sat 3rd and 4th, battling over the final podium place. Luca Losio, who has already stamped his ticket, heading to Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi for the Ferrari HP Esports Series Grand Final on December the 5th, is now fighting it out to retain his podium record. He wants to go ahead and take yet another podium. It would mean a lot to him, I'm sure, but it's going to take a little bit of a fight to take down Ethan Faulkner.
Yeah, absolutely. But we know Locio is punchy. We've seen it many, many a time. And he wants that third position. He doesn't want to go provisionally into the grand final, finishing in fourth in the final race. No, absolutely not. He wants to be on the podium. So I reckon it's just a matter of time.
Well, the 18-year-old Italian having another look down the inside of Ethan Faulkner, coming out of Aintree corner right now, out of the loop. But still Faulkner able to hold on to that third place and at least try and convincingly hold on to it. Anyway, just needs to do it now for the remainder 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It's going to be tough, though. Luca Locio is going to make him earn it as they head down in towards the Brookfields and Luffield section here at this point. Obviously getting my tongues tied. Obviously it's been a busy day. Yeah, absolutely. I'm combining the corners. They are part of the same branch anyway. We'll count that. We'll call it Brookfields in future.
Yeah, let's rename it, George.
Yeah, let's rename it the Brookfields as they now head down towards the. I could call it Brooke Shields after a famous actress. I mean, that might be.
There's always that. She might be waving the checkered flag.
Yeah, that's right. We now watch them come out of the next right at Cops Corner in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Mattia De Campo currently sat in 6th. Luca De Monaco still in 5th, but it definitely looks like it's all Aidan Walshingham right now. Sami Jarabi Nakali, mightily impressive in this final race again. It looks like another 18 points is going his way unless we get some major shocks in the last gasp minutes. Luca Locio once again closing like a train and is going to open the door up the inside, heading through Stowe.
Locio just having a little look there, maybe thinking a little bit better of it. He doesn't want to make any more mistakes. He wants to try and keep this clean. Nakali, can I just say, hats off to him. I didn't have him on my radar. Where was he in the last? George, this could have been really spicy, but you know what, he drove a really brilliant 3 races and he well deserved second place.
He definitely does. After not scoring a single point in our first round at Watkins Glen, he's gone ahead and scored P2s in every single race so far, and he looks set to take a third one unless he does something to upset the balance of Aidan Walshingham's evening and take the win in our final and third race here of the evening at Silverstone here in the European region of ACC. We're still watching Luca Locio pepper the back of Ethan Faulkner's car as they now head down the long straight at Wellington. Of course, this will then lead towards the final corners of the lap. We're now coming into the dire minutes. We're coming into 3 minutes and 30 territory. And obviously this might cause Luca Locio to go for something a little bit more daring as he now has a little. He just follows Faulkner here at this stage, just waiting for his opportunity to pounce. And you get the feeling that he's trying to tee something up to at least try and challenge down the long hanger straight.
Yeah, he's trying to set it up, isn't he? And Faulkner is a bit of a cork in a bottle now. He's at a nice train forming behind him. So I think he might be losing the pace a little bit. I genuinely think Locio is faster. So if he can figure out a way past, I reckon he could actually create some distance between himself and Faulkner.
Well, he definitely can do that. So you now watch them head through Maggots and Beckett's again. Just look how close Locio is, and he's going to try it around the most, probably not necessarily the place you'd expect him to do it, and he has. Goodness me, he's managed to get past Ethan Faulkner midway through the Maggots and Beckett's section. Fantastic overtake by Luca Locio. He was almost pushing Ethan Faulkner around the track. They brought Luca Le Monaco into the fight here as well as they fly into Stowe Corner. Faulkner able to keep Luca Le Monaco in behind, but Locio out of sincerely nowhere managing to get the move that was necessary done to potentially make it 3 podiums in a row tonight.
What a beautiful move, John. That might be the move of the round for me, of the week. That was amazing stuff, and he kept it clean. He made it look easy, like it was no sweat off his back at all. I think he'll be happy with that now. Now he just needs to keep his head down and try and keep that third position. Yeah,
Luca Locio certainly doesn't like to lose a podium, and he hasn't on this occasion. He's holding on to third place. Further back, we do have some scrapping. Further down, Luca Le Monaco might be somewhat inspired by that overtake and might even try and challenge Ethan Faulkner himself as well. But there is a move up behind as well between Mattia De Campo and Leonardo Pagano as well. And I think Pagano might have got Mattia De Campo's number here. And yes, it's updated on the timing screen. Pagano moving up into 6th place, just ahead of Mattia De Campo.
Absolutely, and now Nakali only 2/10 behind Walshingham. He's really giving it to him good. He's not making his day easy, George.
No, not at all. So we are getting news as well, folks, concerning Luke Whitehead's moment as to why he did not set up heading into the first race of the evening. He claims that his setup didn't load when he went to grid with 12 seconds left, so he didn't have enough time to go back to the garage load setup and re-grid. So that is why Luke Whitehead wasn't able to get to the start in time, and therefore had to start from the pit lane. Not ideal at all, and never a nice way to lose a pole position, because this could have been a very different evening in terms of how the standings look had he have got to the grid in time.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Whitehead. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's technology, racing, I don't know what you want to call it, but it just happens. It's just not been his day. Really, really bad luck.
Yeah, it really has been unfortunate. Of course, remember, folks, all our standings are provisional for now, though it does look likely, obviously, Luke Whitehead not finishing this race at all. Of course, retiring earlier on, so he will not be entering his car into the results here. In 20 seconds' time, they will cross the line, and we will confirm a victor. But Sami Joe Abinakali is going to keep on ploughing the pressure here on Aidan Walshingham, trying to enforce an error here in the closing stages. Here is Luca LaMonaco. Goes a little wide over the curb, and that might open the door here for Leonardo Pagano around the outside as they come in towards Village. They're going to go side by side. The white 296 now will have the nice line heading through towards the loop. Coming out of Aintree, fantastic move there from Pagano, and through goes Mattia De Campo.
Oh no, he's lost 2 places in the space of a couple of corners, George. I bet he'll be kicking himself, but great racing from all of them.
Yeah, but he's going to come back now. Here comes Luca LaMonaco around the outside, coming in towards Brooklands. Can he hold it around the outside? No, not quite enough leverage. Nothing is going to stop him. But this time, nothing's going to stop Aidan Walshingham. It's a dream triple at Silverstone. He makes it 6 in the regional finals. Aidan Walshingham wins here at Silverstone in the Ferrari HP Esports Series. That is 3 in a row. 6 out of 6. A fantastic performance. And yet another 3 races of 75 points going to his name in the championship. He finishes ahead of Sami Joe Abinakali, who challenged him right through. And what a drive from Abinakali here tonight. Yet another 2nd place secured. A string of 18-point finishes. Of course, going well and truly up against exactly what he did in round 1 at Watkins Glen. And he'll be wondering what could have been had he finished in the same vein back at Watkins Glen as well. Disaster for Luke Whitehead. Looked like he was one of the form players coming into this. Luca Losio confirming his spot going into the Ferrari HP Esports Series Grand Final on December 5th. Here are the provisional standings. Aidan Walshingham on 150 points. That all but concludes everything. It does conclude everything as far as he's concerned. He will be going to the Grand Final on the 5th of December at Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi. Luca Losio in 2nd place on 99 points ahead of Luke Whitehead, who finished his 3rd on 58, did not finish that last race. Just look at the difference that those string of P2s have done for Sami Joe Abinakali. 54 points, 4 points clear of Leonardo Pagano. He takes 4th place. Leonardo Pagano in 5th. Ethan Faulkner down in 6th on 44, with Mattia De Campo in 7th on 40. Stefano Bonsignore in 8th place on 26. We then move down to the rest. We have Luca LaMonaco in 9th place on 26. Leon Hopp finishing in 10th place in the standings. Kieran Prendergast in 11th, joined on points with Alexandra Chiron, who finishes in 12th. Yanis Reinders in 13th, and Alessandro Alfano in 14th. Marvin Bootsin in 15th, and Vergelis Constantaras finishing in 16th place on 1 point. So there we go. Those are the provisional standings at this stage, but we have witnessed yet another fantastic evening of racing, and Aidan Walshingham going against the trend of what we've seen where, shall we say, championship favourites are being undone. He dominated again. Went from Watkins Glen, Silverstone, doesn't matter the location or the occasion, he's on top once more.
6 for 6, George. So well deserved as well. He was faultless. Couldn't fault him. Beautiful driving. The last 2 races, he had immense pressure from Nakali. Oh my goodness, Nakali, where were you at Watkins Glen? What could have been for this championship? But you know what? Brilliant driving across the board from those 2. Very, very consistent. Another consistent drive. And Walsingham is provisionally going to the grand final.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Obviously, everything's provisional at this stage, folks. But I mean, I don't think Walsingham necessarily did anything he can necessarily be convicted of, really, at the moment. So I'd say on the face of it, he is definitely going. I mean, string of 25-point finishes, just the consistency was scary. That raw talent, ability on show. He's got the ability to do it at a flat circuit as well as an elevation circuit where things sort of change across the board. I suppose his big test will be when we go to the grand final on the 5th of December. Is how is he going to hack it in the different sims that we're going to be thrown at?
And can he hold his nerve when his competitors are right there next to him? It's all very well doing it in your house when it's just you, but can you hold your nerve in Ferrari World, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, when your competitors, you can physically see them? But you know what? He's cool as a cucumber, George. He's cool as you like. Very calm, very collected. So he is a big threat.
Yeah, big fan of the guitar as well, so no doubt shredding off the back of that one, and finishing ahead of a fantastic effort from Sami Jarvi Nakali. I would say one of the drivers of the day if we were to have that kind of a competition. I mean, what an effort. I mean, going from scoring 0 points at Watkins Glen, Nina, that is quite the feat to turn it around so abruptly like that.
It's complete night and day. He was not on my radar, had him not on my bingo card. Hats off to him, because nobody could challenge him either. He wasn't ever challenged for second place. He was completely dominant, kept up with Walsingham every single race. So hats off to him. He can be really proud of himself for that drive.
Yeah, it was a huge effort. It's just a shame that he did not bring the same tenacity back at Watkins Glen, but nevertheless, obviously it was a great performance. Luca Losio, of course, though, will be joining Aidan Walsingham provisionally at this stage. Obviously those standings will be updated soon, but folks, it's been a pleasure having you. Hope you've all enjoyed the show. Obviously we've crowned yet another 2 drivers provisionally heading to Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi for the Ferrari HP Esports series. Be sure to check out the social media, be sure to leave a like as well, and subscribe to the Ferrari channels as well. But from me, George Morgan, and of course Nina, Jade, Paul, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.